The UFC in 2025 has been kind of mid, guys. I'm going to be honest. We were at the halfway point of the year, and there have been some good moments, but there also has been a lot of mid, a lot of, apex fight nights, a lot of pay-per-views that aren't exactly stacked, maybe one good fight at most. Well, guys, we have literally like half a year, not even, we're like literally over the halfway point. Is this year salvageable for the UFC? That is the question. I think so. I think that the second half of the year, or whatever, this fall, fall/winter period, I think we're going to see some big pay-per-views. I mean, there is a lot of pay-per-views that have not gotten announced. We have MSG coming up. We might have another one. I don't know if they're going to actually wind up doing that extra pay-per-view that they were thinking about doing, but they also have a December pay-per-view. We have very little details about Abu Dhabi. There's a lot of room for some massive fights, and I have 5 fights, guys, that I want to break down for you guys that I think we need to see this year, 2025, before 2026. Some of these fights might wind up happening maybe later. Maybe they don't even happen at all. These are fights that I want. Normally we do this at the beginning of the year, but I feel like it's just appropriate. We are entering a new time period. We are entering a period where I think we are going to get big news from Dana White very soon about some upcoming fights. And to be honest, guys, I'm just curious to see, what big fights actually do get made, because I feel like there's been a lot of disappointment this year. John Jones, Tom Aspinall falling through. Islam versus Ilia Topuria was a fight I really wanted to see. That wound up falling through. So these are the top 5 fights, and these are fights that are not like really official. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to include JDM versus Islam, but it seems like that's pretty much all but confirmed according to Khabib for Madison Square Garden. But guys, remember, hit the subscribe button before we get into this list, and hit the notification bell for the random live streams, the random uploads, the random breaking news videos, guys. So please do that. It helps me, and also will help you, I guess, get the content, because I know a lot of you guys complain sometimes it doesn't always show up. That'll make sure it always shows up, guys. But let's start with number 5, Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya 2. This is a fight that it has been rumored for a while. I mean, there was rumors, that Israel Adesanya was asking for this behind the scenes. The first fight, let's be honest, it wasn't the most flashy fight. It wasn't, eye-opening. It was a normal fight, okay? It was, a back and forth. I felt like a very close fight. And a lot of us were shocked at the time, that Sean Strickland was actually able to beat Israel Adesanya. I was at the time, you know what I mean? That was a fight where, Israel Adesanya was so cocky in the build-up. He seemed to be talking trash. I think he really thought that Strickland was going to be an easy fight, went in there and got outclassed. And Adesanya wants this one back. He claims it's because of injuries. He claims that, if they were to rematch, it would be a totally different result. I think Strickland might just be his kryptonite. I think he might be just the perfect fighter, and Adesanya, let's be honest, since this last fight, he has gotten worse. I mean, he fought Dricus du Plessis. I actually don't think he looked that bad against du Plessis, especially compared to Strickland's last fight against du Plessis. But then he also fought Nasruddin Imavov, and I felt like he didn't look good there. He looked slow. He got knocked out. You got to wonder his chin. Is his chin even still going to be there? And honestly, guys, does even Adesanya want it, at this point? He has achieved so much. I don't know. I definitely am interested in this just from a storylines perspective. I think this has to be 5 rounds, probably a co-main event on a pay-per-view, because Adesanya's a big name. Strickland's a decent name, especially since he's become champion, especially since he can draw up and drum up a lot of attention, especially for a pay-per-view during fight week. I could very well see the UFC making this fight. I think it's probably going to happen. I'm pretty confident in this happening 2025. Yeah, I like this fight a lot. But number 4, I am going with Zhang Weili versus Valentina Shevchenko, and I think that this is the best women's fight you could possibly make, maybe of all time. These are 2 very high-skill, pound-for-pound elite fighters. Weili, super explosive, and Valentina is just super technical. Weili, I think the grappling is going to help her a lot. She's been really working on her wrestling. Her power is going to be insane. Valentina Shevchenko, I'm not exactly a big fan of. I feel like Valentina Shevchenko, I get it. You speak 50 different languages. We don't need to hear about it. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely would be rooting for Weili. I'm a big Weili fan. And I think, look, Shevchenko's experience could play a big part in this. Weili has experience too, don't get me wrong, but not at 125. You know what I mean? Not in 5 rounds. I feel like, Valentina Shevchenko has had a lot of experience, but she also is a little bit more up there in age. I feel like she hasn't looked as good in her last few fights. I feel like against Alexa Grasso, I feel like that was just a bad version of Alexa Grasso. I was surprised she did beat Manon. That was pretty impressive, I will say. I don't think there's going to be a fight that's going to drop a lot of attention, but I think diehard fans that actually know how good these girls are, how actually talented and, the amount of skill, I think they're going to be interested. Like me, I am interested in this fight, and that's what I want to see, guys. Number 3, Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan 2. This is another rematch on this list that is not a title fight, funny enough. And I want to see this fight. And I wanted to see this fight. I said I wanted to see this fight in the beginning of the year. We did not. Sean O'Malley wound up getting fast-tracked to a rematch against Merab, crazy enough, without even fighting anybody else. Who would have predicted that? But now we're at a point where, Sean O'Malley has lost 2 fights in a row, lost to Merab twice. What other fight is there for him? I mean, you could say Umar. I thought maybe, originally maybe Umar, but I don't really like the Umar fight. I like the Petr Yan fight. There's history there. The first fight was razor close, but it was only 3 rounds, and I think a 5-round rematch is way, way overdue at this point. We have been talking about this for way too long. Yan, a lot of people think he won. I actually did score it for O'Malley. I thought it was a really close fight, but I think that with Yan's pressure, I think in a 5-round fight, guys, I actually might favor Yan in this one. I will say, though, however, here's my objection, and this is something I want you guys to think about. I feel like O'Malley, he has gotten worse, okay? I feel like, O'Malley has gotten better, I should say. O'Malley has gotten better, not worse. He has gotten better, and I feel like Petr Yan, I don't think he's gotten worse, but I don't know how much better he's really gotten, realistically. And if that fight was that close the first time, I don't know. O'Malley now especially, I think he's going to be better going 5 rounds than he would have been all the way back then. He's already fought Yan. I don't know. I think perhaps O'Malley could potentially take this, but I think in the later rounds, it is going to be dangerous. I do want to say Abu Dhabi is coming up. We don't have a lot of info about that card. 5-round co-main event, 5-round feature fight, whatever the case might be, I'm totally happy with that. And I think that would be a fight that everybody would be excited about. It's a fight that's way overdue, as I said. Sean O'Malley, Petr Yan 2. That makes sense, guys. Number 2, Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan. Now, this is a fight I know not a lot of people might, be interested in this fight. I know this might not be on the top of everybody's, we need to see this year. It's on the top of mine. I have been wanting to see this for a while because I just think the matchup itself is really interesting. Justin Gaethje, a really good striker, a really good boxer, and Arman Tsarukyan is really good. I would probably favor Arman. Let's be honest, guys. I think Arman would take out Justin Gaethje, and I think that's why Justin probably doesn't want to fight this one because, look, it's a true number 1 contenders fight. Arman Tsarukyan arguably deserves a title shot. I know that, that's the whole situation where, he might have missed weight, he might not have missed weight. In my opinion, I think he missed weight at this point. I honestly like it. Like I said, I think that Arman would win. I think Arman's grappling would just be, would just take over. Does Gaethje ultimately take this fight? I think there's potential. He didn't want to fight Paddy Pimblett. I think this is the time to make it. If you don't make it now, Justin might honestly retire at this point, guys. But my number 1 pick for the fight to see in 2025. This is a fight that I want to see. The man will probably fight at some point. Ilia Topuria, my pick, especially after the last one. I'm sure you guys already know this. Paddy Pimblett. It is a fight that I have been saying for a while. It's a fight that I've been saying should happen since Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira, since Paddy Pimblett went into the cage that day. I understand Paddy Pimblett does deserve a title shot. I'm not sitting here saying he does, and I understand there might be a lot of people, in the comment section crying because I just brought up the idea of Paddy getting a title shot, guys. I'm not a big Paddy Pimblett fan. I'll say I'm not a big Paddy Pimblett fan, but nobody really deserves a title shot right now. Arman Tsarukyan, he arguably missed weight, probably didn't miss weight, let's be honest. Justin Gaethje does deserve a title shot, coming off of 1 win against a guy that, went in to fight him on 2 weeks' notice. Other than that, lost. Doesn't deserve a title shot. Paddy Pimblett, he beat Michael Chandler. I'm not saying Michael Chandler's the greatest win, but at least he's in that, that realm of top lightweights, and I'm saying that and I'm kind of rolling my eyes as I say that because, Michael Chandler, we all know he isn't a top lightweight. It's the big fight to make. However, I will say this is supposed to be for 2025. I think this fight should be for 2025. However, I will say, guys, the Netflix deal is coming up. I could see them saying, you know what? Let's not do it for December. Let's just wait the extra month. Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria, the first fight. If they do it on Netflix, if Netflix really is the next broadcast deal for the UFC, if the UFC do sign with Netflix, I could see them saying, look, let's make the first event on Netflix, the first pay-per-view, because it wouldn't really be pay-per-view. It's really free streaming, hopefully. Maybe they're going to make that first big event, whatever you want to call it, the numbered event, I guess. Maybe they're going to make that Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett because that is a big fight. It's going to be big promotionally. And if that is on Netflix, I think Ilia Topuria is the guy to do it with. Let's be honest. Conor McGregor, he is not going to fight. John Jones, he isn't going to fight. Who else is there? Adesanya isn't even a champ. I'm trying to think who really else is a huge name. It's Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett. That is 1,000% the fight to make. Like I said before, I wouldn't be opposed to Ilia versus Justin Gaethje either. I personally would just rather this Justin versus Arman and Topuria versus Paddy could be in 2025, but also could be 2026 January. That is maybe my prediction, especially if they're going to go with Netflix. But I don't know. I figure they probably want to start it off with a big bang, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What fight do you guys want to see? Check out my last video where I talked about Demetrius Johnson getting trolled by the Street Beefs, guys, and he made them pay, guys. It's a really funny video, guys. Go check that out. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.